Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 20. Wow. Of the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing weekly gaming podcast from us, the Goodnight Groofs. My name is Matt, and today I'm joined by Mike and Paul. No Josh this week. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But guys, let's get right back into it. Instead of asking you how you're both doing this week, I want to ask everyone what the peak of the week has been for them. So, Paul, what's the best thing that happened to you this week? I'm going to go to you first until you actually are able to answer it. Can you answer?
It used to be Mike we picked on, and I guarantee you he has nothing right now. But you went to me anyway, and 2 weeks in a row.
I'll call that bluff. I'll call that bluff.
Go ahead then, if you have something.
The peak of my week was when, for all of our Michigan State fans, Michigan State being ranked below U of M after U of M has lost to Michigan State.
Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious. I was really happy about it. That was my peak.
Yeah. They were up to number 2 or 3 and lost. What was it?
They were three. And in the playoff ranking, and then they lost to Purdue, like everyone does when they're a top 5 team. And yeah, now they're 7 and we're 6, I think.
My peak is actually also collegiate athletics related. College basketball is back. My favorite sport is back again. The games are on. They're on TV. They're all over every channel. I love it. I love college basketball. Paul, I'm thinking that your peak is not going to be related to college sports, but we'll go to you next.
Oh my God. Why? How dare you? Because I was literally just about to say mine is also actually pretty similar to collegiate sports as well right now. So Rachel and I were out this week, and we were doing a little bit of shopping, and I happened to buy a jersey for my cat. It's actually not even a sports jersey. It's a Christmas sweater.
Oh my God.
Let's see how long I can trail that out.
Wow.
We bought Leo a Christmas sweater for a small dog. It's like an elf kind of thing. It's green with like little red cutouts, and it has jingle bells on it. He's not a clothes-wearing cat, but we shoved it on him and gave him a lot of treats, and he wasn't bad about it. He walked weird for a bit, as you do when a sweater is put on you and you're a feline. But he was okay with it. He liked the jingling bells, I think. It really highlighted how thin he is now, too, because the loose skin wasn't hanging down. It was kind of more sucked up.
Yeah.
It's like a little Spanx effect kind of thing for him. So that was nice. And even after we took it off him, he was like, wanted it back. He wanted to sniff it and like it. So that was probably the peak of my week, is just there's going to be a lot of photos online and videos of Leo wearing a little elf jingle bell sweater.
Wow.
So, probably you might see those on the Goodnight Groofs socials maybe going forward, maybe a couple cat photos, and we can get that going for the holidays.
That seems Christmas card worthy, potentially.
I think it might be on our Christmas card. I'm not going to lie to you. I think we're all going to wear ugly sweaters and make that our Christmas card this year, because we do still send a lot of Christmas cards, Rachel and I.
So Leo is very clearly in the Christmas spirit at this point, and you still have Charles Halloween behind you.
I do. He's still back there right now. He's kind of got I didn't turn him on, but he has hair and a pot of plant kind of coming out of him. But I am going to get a Christmas hat, I think, for him going forward. Now that Remembrance Day or Veterans Day in the U.S. is over, going to fully lean into the Christmas spirit, get some colorful lights up maybe, and then get Charles Halloween, to be maybe a little bit of Chuck Christmas over here.
Very nice. Very nice. I love it. All right, let's move into trending topics this week. In trending topics, I give the panelists a choice between 3 search terms. They have to tell me which one they think got the most searches over the last 7 days via stats from Google Trends. We'll play 3 quick rounds. Round 1, guys. League of Legends, Fortnite, or Minecraft?
Fortnite.
Minecraft is the winner.
Really?
Minecraft is the top played game ever of all time. People are fucking obsessed with it. I haven't played Minecraft in like a decade, but yeah, it always wins.
I figured the Fortnite Naruto crossover would have gotten it.
Wait, did that actually happen?
Yeah, they announced it today, I think.
When the fuck did where have I been?
That's why I was like,
Fortnite. I still think it's Minecraft because Minecraft is freakishly
obviously,
popular.
because that's the answer and you got it right.
Yeah, but still, I would have said that either way. But the Fortnite Naruto thing, that's cool. I know that was teased for like a couple months. People have been thinking that's going to happen. So neat. All right.
Yeah, it
Cool.
got announced. So
Yeah. I
Now,
don't care. I don't really
well.
care. I don't like Naruto in particular, but I think it's cool that they're doing that just because one day maybe I'll get Goku in Fortnite.
now
He
I
can be a
will
little
say,
B-boy.
I looked up these Google Trend stats last night, so I don't know if that would have tipped the scales or not, though. Minecraft
No, I
was
don't
pretty
think
far
so.
ahead, and League of
I don't
Legends
think
was
so.
pretty far behind, actually.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's a dead game.
Yeah. Round 2.
kidding.
Arcane, The Witcher, or Uncharted?
Arcane.
The Witcher.
Arcane. Paul, 2 for 2.
I knew League of Legends wouldn't win, but Arcane is huge this week.
All right, in round 3, we got coffee, tea, or soda.
Tea.
Coffee.
Paul, 3 for 3. It was coffee.
People
Very
are looking
nice.
for like a coffee shop, right? You're not looking for a soda shop, but you're like, where do I get coffee?
You know, I wish we could go back to the days where people were looking for soda pop shops, you know?
Looking for a little soda pop shop. There's a place around me called Soda Pop Central, and they have every kind. They have all these weird. Every might be a little bit of an oversell, but a lot of interesting exotic sodas.
Very nice. All right. The big question. Recently, Riot Games announced that their Runeterra universe of games, aka their catalog minus Valorant, hit 180 million active users for the month of October. That's roughly 50% more monthly active users than all of Steam. On top of that, Arcane, an animated Netflix series based on characters from League of Legends, is #1 on the streaming platform. Also, a single-player rhythm game in the universe is releasing next week on Switch and PC. A story mode for Legends of Runeterra is coming soon. The entire Riot catalog came to the Epic Games Store. The highly anticipated Runeterra MMORPG is still on the horizon, and oh yeah, League of Legends is still doing pretty well.
Pretty well.
Riot has been riding high for many years now, but they're currently riding even higher. Rioting high. They've been riding high. But they're currently riding even higher than they ever have been before. They're at the top of their game, and there's no dip in sight. So here's the question, guys. What else do we predict can come out of this Runeterra universe? And where do we see Riot Games going as a company overall? Where do we see them going into the future? Paul, we talked about this a little bit on Replay. Actually, I will say there's been like a Riot story in each of like the last 4 episodes of Replay. It's been kind of nuts.
Well,
it's been one after another.
Been a little bit of me seeding those in there. Sometimes I skip some of these little updates for League of Legends, but I have, or like Wild Rift and stuff. But because Arcane is so big and because they were announcing games, I'm kind of adding them in with the other stuff because there's so much going on. But yeah, I think they've kind of chosen this time right now to release everything, or a lot of stuff at least, because of all the hype from Arcane. I think this has been something years in the making.
That's a good point. It seems strategic, for sure.
Yeah, I think so too.
So what do you think, Paul? What are your thoughts on this? What do you predict from the Runeterra universe going forward, and where do you see Riot going overall?
I'm going to be a kind of boring and just say I think they've just got it mapped out already so well. I think we're going to get more Netflix shows. This is clearly, I mean, we're only 3 episodes in and it's 1-day release. I mean, we're going to get more weeks of releasing episodes soon that are going to, push the story forward. But I think it's safe to say this series is going to continue to be well reviewed and well liked. Arcane, I'm speaking of course, on Netflix. And I do think, there's more times we can spend some time in Demacia. We can spend times in, I don't know, but like other places in, the League of Legends universe. I don't even remember half the lore. And I can't name a whole bunch of places, but I know there's a lot of places people are looking at going to. So I think they're going to keep seeding that lore, more Netflix shows, more IP stuff in the world. We might see more crossovers like the Fortnite crossover. I think they're I wouldn't bet on too many of those just because I think they're doing so well keeping their IP to themselves and just using it sparingly. So I do worry, or not worry, I do think it's unlikely we're going to see like a ton of crossovers. Literally, they only crossed over Jinx for Arcane. I think the fact that they only crossed over one character like the week it came out makes me feel like I feel like if they really were going to push it, they would have done a lot more. But yeah, to keep it a little bit shorter, basically, I mean, they have an RPG coming out. They have this Ruined King game that's coming out, but that's not 100%, I think, like the open world RPG that some people could want. But there's also some stuff in the works, like a Project F or something that they were talking about. That's like a more open world RPG thing. They have
there's a fighting game.
They have the fighting game that's long rumored. They have the MMO, of course, it's like really, really, really early in development. But I mean, that's also like I think a big end game move for them potentially. But yeah, I think they have it so well mapped out right now. And just hearing them talk about Arcane and how it's been 6 years in the making, and then you hear people talk about how hear the people there talking about when they first released Jinx like 10 years ago, that they still had plans there. They still were even considering the story and the story between her and Vi, and what they would do with that. So I think that ultimately they know exactly what they're doing. And I think we're going to get more of this. It's hard to predict exactly because they keep dropping stuff. I think they're going to probably drop more of these little games like they're doing. I think the fighter might be like a shadow drop, kind of like this
Right.
Ziggs game, the rhythm platformer. But yeah, I think ultimately the big stuff won't be far off. I think in the next 5 years, it's very likely we'll see the RPG, we'll see the fighting game, we'll see the MMO. And then I think from there we're gonna have to see, because then we might start feeling that fatigue. I think they've gone a long time making us kind of want more out of the IP. And now I think they're finally delivering, and I'm a little worried they're going to deliver too much over I mean, it's years we're talking about here, but still, I feel like we're going to start feeling like it's a League of Legends thing or a Runeterra thing every year. Might be a little much. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I don't know. I think Riot's also positioned really well at the forefront of esports. I think the way they're treating it, as we talked about in replay recently, how they're looking to like make the teams have a better profit, and the venues before they worry about their own profit. I think that's smart. Whenever you see companies doing that, I mean, not always, but it certainly I think fosters, I don't know, this kind of mentality where if they can run at a deficit for enough time and become like this de facto good guy of like esports, where all
Yeah.
the teams are making money and they're not making a lot of money, but no one really seems to care. Eventually, they're going to be like the best esports, game and platform, and then they can make as much money as they want at that point, because they don't got a whole lot of competition comparatively. So I think that's probably another avenue for them. But I'd like to hear from you guys a little bit. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but my answer is a little boring. I just think they're just going to keep rocking it with what they've already kind of planned.
Yeah, no, that the esports stuff is a really good point, and I liked what you talked about earlier, how the potential for fatigue in the future. I think Riot's a really interesting company, because for so long they were okay with just being League of Legends, and I'm sure they had a ton of stuff working in the background, and I like all the stuff that we see now. I'm sure was all working back then, but they took their time. They were okay with just being League of Legends, and now all of a sudden there's a ton of stuff. My worry is that not even just fatigue, but that at a certain point they become a little bit over encumbered and they just can't handle everything. It's almost like Riot's very Blizzard like. So I see them almost like an older, like they feel like the older Blizzard, but an older Blizzard that's beyond their years. Like they're a more polished, larger scale Blizzard of old, in terms of games and the output. But I worry Blizzard always had a smaller catalog of games, and they took longer to get their games out. I worry that at a certain point, Riot will have so many games. Can they all be taken care of the way that they're supposed to be, especially because pretty much all of them are live service type games? So I don't know. That's one worry that I have. I think Riot embracing the Epic Game Store is interesting. That kind of tells us that they probably aren't going the direction in which they're going to try to open their own store, which is smart, because it's not going to work for everybody. We saw a lot of people trying it in the past. Discord even tried it, and that failed pretty quickly. It was one of those things where it was sort of like a bubble that burst very quickly. It grew very quickly, and then it burst really quickly. So at least they're not doing that. But Riot's really interesting. I do think with Runeterra, obviously they have those games you were talking about on the horizon that are all coming out. I think some of them are going to be really good. I wonder how many of them are going to be sort of, I don't want to say throwaway games, but like this Hextech Mayhem game that just came out, it's not going to be a massive hit. It just is what it is. I wonder how many of them are going to be like that. Mike, what are some of your thoughts on this whole thing?
I don't have much positive to say about Riot.
That's okay.
I never liked Riot. When they came out with League of Legends, I was just like, okay, you cloned Dota. And then when they came out with Valorant, I was like, okay, you cloned CSGO. And now that they're coming out with that rhythm platformer, I'm like, okay, you're cloning Geometry Dash. Like literally just copying games
Teamfight
and putting
Tactics, Legends
their
of
stuff.
Runeterra, they're all
Yep.
copied games. But I think
Right.
the
They're
thing
all
about the copies is they're some of the better copies. A lot of these copies come out, and I think they're
Oh,
better.
yeah, they're
I think League is
polished.
better than Dota 2. It's more cohesive.
I don't know that I would
and
say that.
I feel like it's cohesive in its presentation and like creating a new IP out of it. Whereas I think Dota 2 still
I
feels like the
think-
remnants of something.
I think
open.
Dota 2 is an issue on its own. Honestly, I think Blizzard should have made Dota 2, not Valve.
God,
I think
yes,
that's
Yeah.
of
the
course.
biggest issue with Dota 2.
Is that one of the biggest
but
misses in like all of gaming? The biggest missed opportunities in all of gaming?
maybe? I
It's up
mean,
there.
They could have been
I'm
like
a hot stan. I think Heroes of the Storm was done very well and then executed very poorly down the line, which led to, it's in maintenance mode. It's very much dead. It is what it is. Mainly because of their esports focus. Blizzard did esports very wrong, which I know, I think Riot did esports very right. I mean, League has been the forefront of esports for a while. But back to the question, I mean, there's really no limit in what Riot can just, copy and slap Runeterra onto. So I think they're just gonna keep going. I'm not gonna say like their games are bad. I look at them, I'm just like, it's just a copy. Like I don't know, I just can't get past that. But that and some of their prior controversy, I'm just like,
Well, I agree with that.
But I mean, it's interesting. They're doing everything right. Slow rolling everything was the right strategy. I think they're just going to keep doing that. As far as fatigue goes, I have no idea. I'm not part of the league. I'm not part of the league community. I have no idea how much hype there is for all of this other Riot Runeterra stuff. I have no idea if there's going to be fatigue. Maybe people are just that crazy about Riot's IP and everything, but if they are, then great. I don't really care.
There's a lot of people that play these games. 180 million in October. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that, like, Mike, I don't think you were one of them. I wasn't one of them. We play a lot of games and we weren't one of those 180 million people playing Runeterra games in October. No. So it is wild. I mean, that's an insane number. There's not any company that can even claim anything close as far as I'm aware, unless I'm totally overlooking something. But the fact that it's that much larger than all of Steam is just nuts. I mean, that's absolutely insane. And I feel like a lot of these Runeterra games aren't even really in the conversation very often. So I don't really know where it's all coming from. I know they have a lot of
that's coming from.
They have a lot of people in playing in China, and like Fortnite doesn't, Minecraft doesn't, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where there's a difference. But like Legends of Runeterra, for example, doesn't really do very well on Twitch. It does nothing like Hearthstone. Valorant does. Oh, it's hit and miss on Twitch. Some days it's doing really well. Some days it's just not as good. League of Legends is always up there, but I mean that's a different animal.
Huge.
I would be curious, and maybe the number's available, but I'd be curious how much of that 180 was just League of Legends.
I would willing to bet a massive amount.
80%. Maybe more.
I would say at least maybe more.
Yeah, I mean it's a wild. League is wild.
I mean, MOBAs are crazy popular in Korea. They're popular in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, Korea. I assume they're popular in China. Yeah,
success for sure. I mean, that's what am I saying? How do I know? But I feel like pretty much anyone who's into gaming is playing League of Legends in South Korea.
Between that and StarCraft 2, that's what they. That's South Korea. I don't know what else to say.
I don't know what they're playing in North Korea, but yeah.
Well, to wrap it all up,
League of Legends just won. Can join in.
Yeah. To wrap it all up, I'm excited for the MMO. That's not a secret. There's going to be a lot of money put behind it. I'm sure they have a ton of money
for any MMO, man.
If it's an MMO, Matt's excited.
Well, here's what the main reason I'm excited is because they do copy all these games. If they want to copy Vanilla WoW, but in a modern spin on it,
sure,
be my guest. In fact, I think I would prefer that. So go right ahead, Riot. Go and do that.
I think they could do a really good job refreshing and coming out with that with all the baggage that Blizzard has left behind.
We've talked about this before,
Probably
but
copy New World.
I hope
let's
not.
maybe some elements like the gathering and crafting.
Yeah, well, yeah. Just as long as the whole game isn't gathering and crafting.
As long as they don't copy like Rift, we're fine.
Yeah,
all
oh
right,
god,
let's move
if it's
on.
Rift,
Let's move on. Okay, let's
you
move
know
on.
what I want is the combat in Elder Scrolls Online. That's what I'm looking for.
Oh god, okay. All right, new mini game. This is called Groofstradamus.
Hey,
Love it.
In Groofstradamus, the panelists and I make predictions for the open critic scores for upcoming games. We'll rotate around taking turns to guess the scores of 4 major upcoming releases. Once all 4 of the games have been released, we'll check back and see how we did, and then make predictions for a new batch of games. Now, this is the first time we're playing this, so we don't have any games to look back on, so we'll probably breeze through this pretty quickly, and because of that, we'll play a brand new bonus minigame after. But first game, we'll go to Mike here first. So I'll give him this one first because this is right up Mike's alley. Mike, give us your open critic score prediction for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl coming out a week from tomorrow as of recording.
Oh shit. Okay, so I did like a lot of research on this, just
Oh.
an FYI. I did a lot of research on all of these. I'm going with an 83.
83, okay. Very nice. I like it. I think that's a pretty good score. Paul, go ahead.
I did absolutely zero research. I just quickly Googled Pokemon Sun and Moon and I couldn't find the review score quick enough. So I'm going to go ahead and say this game is going to get an 88.
88, okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and
Keep in
give
mind, no research. So when you give me your judgmental smirk, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I just think it feels right in my stomach.
I'll tell you after Matt gives his score.
Yeah.
Now, I think you both gave pretty good guesses. I'm thinking Paul's is probably a little bit inflated from what I'm expecting. I think Mike's 83 is pretty dang good, but I'm going to go ahead and say 84.
Nice.
Somewhere in the middle.
Wow.
Okay.
A little closer to Mike.
Wow.
So Paul, I smirked because Sun and Moon is the highest scoring Pokemon game of the modern era.
Yeah.
And it
Really?
scored an 87. Yes.
That's okay. That's high, and this could this could blow out. I think this could blow it out. I'm interested. Matt, I would like to make a request going forward in this game that we give Mike the last answer because I think he's giving away a little bit of like just I might
because of his
my
research.
because he's researched so much and I've done zero, so I don't want to cheat based on how Mike has researched. If that's all right in this round. Anyway.
Sure. Well, this next one I'll go first, and then we'll go to Paul and then Mike.
Okay.
All right. Solar Ash. Now, we were going to have Battlefield 2042, but the reviews came out today. I didn't even know they were coming out today. So I had to replace it because obviously we know what the score is. Solar Ash. I am thinking it's going to be an 82. I think there are a lot of people pretty hyped about this. I don't know if it's going to live up to like tip-top hype, but I do think it's going to have enough people that are into it to get a pretty decent score. So I'm going to put an 82 on it. What about you, Paul?
I'm looking at scores for like Hyper Light Drifter and trying to base it around that a little bit. I actually, just personally, I'm really excited for Solar Ash. I think I'm going to go a little, I feel like they're kind of getting out of the box a little, but it might be a little too, I'm going to say 78.
Okay. You gotta go out on a limb to win these kind of games sometimes.
I just think here's the thing. People might be like, they've really iterated and done something different but in a good way. And I think this is like a huge, kind of win. But on the flip side, it could be like, they took some chances and I'd rather go back and play Hyper Light Drifter. So I'm going 78.
That's fair. Mike, how about you?
Okay. So I also looked at Hyper Light Drifter, but then I also looked at a really solid 3D platformer game because that's what Solar Ash is. A Hat in Time. And I compared those scores and I watched a trailer for Solar Ash, a gameplay trailer, and saw the movement abilities, saw how it felt, saw how it looked. It looked really smooth. I went with an 87.
Was a Hat in Time an 88? Or an 89 maybe?
No. The Hat in Time was like a 79. Hyperlight Drifter, I think, was an 82. I thought this looked more
Hyperlight Drifter
polished
was
than
an 84 on OpenCritic anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought this looked way more polished than Hat in Time, which is impressive because Hat in Time looked really good. I think the art style's really nice. I think it's a Sony game. It'll probably do well. I think this is the first Annapurna game that I think will be good. I was very nervous on Annapurna when I saw it. I'm just like, oh, don't burn me again. But maybe. Paul, what did you say?
Let 12 minutes die, okay? You know, I mean, it was a miss. It was a huge miss, but it's nothing against Annapurna.
I don't think it's a
okay?
miss.
No,
it's not a miss. It's just not great.
Yeah.
Paul, what was your score? Because
I said 78.
Okay.
And what was yours, Mike?
87.
I
have mine all written out already.
I want it to be 87 because I'm really excited for this game. I'm just taking a wild leap here, seeing if I can get a little crazy with it.
When I watched it, I thought of Matt. So.
Oh, interesting.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that it was a Sony game, I didn't realize that it was console exclusive to PlayStation. I didn't actually know that. I do remember it being in like a state of play and stuff, but
I did my research, Matt. Did a lot of research.
All right, next game is Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, the expansion. Now, I didn't do any research, and I feel like looking back on the expansions and for Final Fantasy XIV would help a lot as far as the score goes here, because so few people give MMO scores. Yeah. So I think that you're going to be closer to that number if you're in that general area. I'm going to go ahead and give it. I'm going to go ahead and say an 89.
So I'll say right now, I just looked up Shadowbringer's score was 89 on OpenCritic. Okay. So you're right in the right wheelhouse, I think. I think, it's an end of an era here. It's been pretty hyped. We've delayed a little bit because I think they want to get it just right. And I'm going to go ahead and drop a 91.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, I did the same thing. I looked at every expansion. Shadowwalker was 89, like Shadowbringer was 89, as you said. I think Heaven's Ward was an 86. Even Realm Reborn was, or no, Heaven's Ward was an 87. Realm Reborn was an 86, and I thought that was
wild for an MMO.
Doo-doo. But everything seems to be between an 86 and an 89, so I gave it an 88. So I don't see it. Every expansion seems to get the same rating.
People might give it that inflated ending rating.
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah. I toyed with it, so
that's what I'm banking.
But
all right, final game. Paul, we'll go to you first. Halo Infinite.
All right, so I looked at Halo 5. Halo 5 got an 84 on OpenCritic, which and that game sucked. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like reviewers also suck half the time, and we're probably like, I don't know, it's like looks really good and like it felt fun. But that being said, I don't know. Maybe it's because I want this game to succeed so bad. The campaign reveal stuff today was really cool. The first look preview stuff. The multiplayer sounds great. I have a lot of faith in this. I'm really hoping it's not terrible. And I'm going to go ahead and drop an 88.
All right. Mike, let's go to you next. I'll go last here.
Okay. I had two different ratings because I didn't know if we were just judging this off of the multiplayer or also the campaign.
I would have skewed me differently too. Yeah.
Whatever launches on. Well, it's gonna be.
It's both.
It's both.
Multiplayer is free. Campaign is pay, but on Game
the
Pass.
the whole package that drops on the 8th.
So I guess if it was just multiplayer, I would have given this a 90.
I would have given it a higher score. Just
with the campaign, I expect the campaign to not be good. 87 was my guess. The highest Halo game that I found was Halo Reach at 91. So
really, okay, interesting. Yeah, I guess OpenCritic doesn't go super far back, so like it doesn't have the earlier.
No.
But also Reach is just a fucking gem of a game.
All right. Well, very good. I'm gonna say 86. I'm gonna say 86 for Halo Infinite. That's what I'm sort of feeling. I know that like a lot of people are really excited about what they're seeing, but I also know that at the same time there were some people that had issues with the multiplayer in the recent tests. So I know that it's not
all
perfect.
Good. Perfect. 10 out of 10.
I hope so.
Like a perfect
Super
87.
Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah. All right. So we got those scores locked in, and we'll check back for the one of the early December recordings, and we'll see how we did, and then we'll guess a new batch of games.
That's exciting. I'm excited to see how that goes. That's a fun one.
All right.
I like this. This is fun.
Next new mini game. This is called A Year to Remember. In A Year to Remember, our panelists have to answer 2 types of questions. One, I'll give them a game title, and they have to tell me the year it initially launched. And 2, I'll give the panelists a year and a platform, and then they have to try to tell me the highest scoring game on that platform in the given year. Scores are taken from Metacritic. We'll play.
I just want to say ahead of time, I think we're gonna not get any of these right half the time, but it's gonna be really funny hearing us guess.
Right.
I'm really excited to
and I knew that going into this. I feel like, yeah, it's going to be very difficult compared to the other games that we play.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be
excited though.
Yeah, we'll play 6 rounds, rotating the order in which our 2 panelists make their guesses for each round. The panelist with the most accurate guesses at the end wins. We take suggestions for A Year to Remember from our $1 plus supporters on Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs, where you can message us your suggestion. All right. First round, we're going to go to Mike first. All right. Half-Life 2. What year did it come out?
I think I know.
Oh god. Like the first one, not even. Oh god.
Half-Life 2.
Yeah, not episode 1, episode 2. Yeah, just
2001.
Oh, can I come in with my with my
Paul,
guess?
you're the only other panelist. So
I don't get points, right? I'm just guessing for fun.
No, yeah, you both.
No,
we just rotate. Yeah, so
right, we're both doing it. I forgot 2004.
Paul's correct. It's 2004.
I was gonna say 04.
I just remembered that I'm gonna be good at this game. I don't want to speak out of turn, but I'm really good at remembering years.
Same thing. I just weirdly good at remembering years and what came out.
I'll be like, oh yes, July 13th, 2011. I was here. Like I'm just really good at remembering that kind of stupid crap.
Yeah, it's a weird. I feel like it's a nostalgia thing. And I just remember things because based around nostalgia. All right, Paul, You're going first this time. The top scoring game in 2010 on the PlayStation 3.
This is a dead year for me. 2010. Fuck me. See, I was at this is my first year at university. I wasn't super zoned in to games here because I didn't bring a console or anything. I remember my buddies playing Fallout New Vegas, but I'm pretty sure that came out in 2009, and I doubt it's top score. Like, it's top scoring, you said?
Yep, the top scoring game in 2010 for PlayStation 3.
I have a guess, but I'm not sure it's right.
I just feel bad. I'm going to sit here for like an hour. I'll have to answer something. I guess I'll say New Vegas. I'm almost positive it came out in 10, and also no, it can't be because they didn't get a 90, and it's got to be over 90 for sure. I don't know. I'm gonna say New Vegas. I can't think of anything. I think it came out in 09 and it didn't get a 90. So there you go. So that's that. But I don't know.
Mike?
Okay. So I didn't have a PS3 in 2010, but my buddy did, and he had me play a game on it. This was my buddy that I met in university because I was also in college. I was a freshman. He made me play Metal Gear Solid 4, so that is my guess.
Might be good.
You're both wrong. Now, Paul, you're right.
Obviously.
Fallout New Vegas did come out in 2010. You are right on that.
Okay.
The answer is
89.
Red Dead Redemption.
You know what? I could have sworn that was 20. I always felt like it was a 2011 game. That was my throw off. I wouldn't have got it anyway, but that also screwed me up.
All right, now we're gonna go.
It came out in 2010. Hold on.
What?
Not a lot of shit.
When? Yeah. Was it in early 2010?
Red Dead? I actually don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm to Google.
All right, Paul, we're going to go to you first again, and then we're going to go back to Mike. We're doing like a snake order.
All right, I'm into that.
It's early.
Inside, what year did it come out?
Okay, Limbo was out. I remember playing Limbo at least in like 2011. It was after that. Inside. I want to say 13 or 14. I'm going to say that Inside came out 20. I think it's 50-50 for me on this because I think one of them's right. I'm going to say 2013.
Okay, Mike.
I'll take 2014.
You're both wrong. Came out in 2016.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I thought that game was out way before then.
2016. Unless I'm wrong for some reason,
No,
but let
you're
me
probably
double
right.
check.
That sounds right. Like,
Let
I
me
didn't
double
play it.
check. Yeah, June 2016.
Yeah, okay.
All right, Mike.
Yeah.
2007. The highest scoring game on the Nintendo Wii.
Oh,
2007. I'm trying to remember when.
I think the
I
Wii
was
launched
doing.
in 07, right? Not 06. I
The
think
what?
it was 07. The Wii launched in 07, I think.
That could be.
Yeah, Matt, you don't have to tell us. That's okay.
Um,
I actually don't know. I thought maybe the Wii was 2006.
I've got an answer ready. But...
It was definitely out in 06.
Nintendo Wii. Why? When I search Nintendo Wii, the first thing that comes up is Nintendo Switch. It was out in 2006, the end of 2006.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna go with Smash Bros. Brawl.
Nice.
Yeah, Paul.
I don't think Brawl was out yet. I'm gonna guess. I might be wrong. Was it? I'm just gonna go ahead. Hey, here you go. I'm gonna go ahead and say Twilight Princess.
Both wrong. It was Super Mario Galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah.
I didn't know if Galaxy was out yet. Fuck me.
All right, Mike.
Yeah.
What year did Far Cry 2 come out?
Far Cry 2?
Far Cry 2.
What year did Far Cry 2 come out?
After Far Cry 1, before Far Cry 3.
Thank you.
You were some kind of
I'm
monster.
trying to think of... Also, you're right. It came out in 2008. January 31st, 2008. I'm trying to think of when Fallout 3 came out. Because if I can remember when Fallout 3 came out, I can maybe guess when Fallout 2 came out.
Oh, Far Cry, you mean?
Oh, it's Far Cry 2?
Yeah. Not
Jesus,
Fallout.
Fuck
Far
me.
Cry, yeah.
Oh, Fallout
Very
2?
different.
That was like...
Fallout would have been like the 90s.
Early 2000s,
like
late 90s?
I think like 99 or something, 2000, yeah. No, Far Cry 2, very different.
Oh, Far Cry 2.
98 for Fallout 2.
Yeah, okay. I think only a year after 1, right? I think Fallout 1 was 97.
Oh, I gotta Google
Yeah,
again.
look it up. Look it up for us while we're waiting for Mike here.
Yeah, 97.
I think...
Yeah.
I want to say Far Cry 2 was out on GameCube? I think.
That sounds so wrong, but I guess it's possible.
It is possible, I
think. If I'm remembering right, which I might not be, Far Cry 2 you had alien mutant powers in it.
Yes, you did.
And it had a multiplayer mode.
Yes, this is all correct. You have the right game.
And I remember playing it at my friend's house, and the only console he had was a Wii and a GameCube. And I remember it looked like doo-doo, so I assume it was on
it could easily be
GameCube.
any Nintendo console.
That's true, but I assume it was on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why you would buy it on the Wii. I want to say 2003.
Okay. I became aware of Far Cry in Beyond Name Only in like 2010, I feel like, with Far Cry 3. Someone lent it to me. I am willing to say that this game came out in 06.
Both wrong. It did not come out on the GameCube.
Damn it.
It came out on PC,
playing?
PS3, 360, and mobile eventually.
Okay.
2008.
2008.
I
was worried about that. I was just like, I know 3 came out like in like 2010 or something. So,
all right, the final game is this. This is Paul going first.
This is me.
1997, the highest scoring game on the Nintendo 64.
Okay, 7. So it came out in 96. Here's the thing. I feel like it launched with Super Mario 64. I think that still might be the top seller. It's just such a big seller. But then also there's
It's top scoring game of that year.
Top scoring. Oh, 64 is really top scoring. I think it's one of the top scoring games of all time. I don't think Ocarina of Time came out yet, but I don't know. It really might have. And it's between those two for me, and then we both might be wrong, but that's just what I'm thinking top scoring wise. I'm gonna say Super Mario 64. I didn't go with Mario in my gut earlier, and it was a mistake. So Mario 64.
Mike?
97.
1997.
Oh God, I want to go with Super Mario 64 too. Right, because Nintendo 64 came out in 96.
Yeah, like fall 96.
I think Ocarina came out in 98.
That's what I think too.
What's it gonna be?
But did 64 come out in 96 is the question.
It did. I don't know if it came out in US, but it came out in general in 96.
Yeah. And the question then becomes what else would it be in 97?
Yeah. Like there's a lot of games I love on N64, but I don't know if I wouldn't I like Banjo-Kazooie more than 64, Mario 64, but I'm not gonna fucking rank it higher in terms of rating.
But I don't know when Star Fox came out. I don't know when F-Zero came out. I don't know when these games
I didn't pay attention to that stuff when I was a kid. I just got them. Yeah.
Fuck.
That's not the correct answer.
Can I go with Glover? No.
Oh yeah, Glover for sure. No, that was a late game for sure.
Yeah.
To get those graphics, so they got that to the level of polish.
When did GoldenEye come out? Did GoldenEye come out in 97?
See, that's possible, but I just don't think it ranked that high.
I don't know that it ranked that high, but
yeah,
I'll go with GoldenEye. Fuck it.
All right, this is a game that I played a lot as a kid.
Oh God.
GoldenEye 007.
Hey!
What the fuck? I mean, obviously I thought of it, but I just thought I did not think it got a critic rating that was really high.
Yeah, people. I mean, everyone loved that game.
I know, but fucking Mario.
I don't know what. Let's see. Super Mario 64. What year? I mean, I assume that had to be a launch title, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 96. June 96. All right. Good game. Good game. That was fun. And I look forward to playing that one again. Yeah, tie game. You both got 2 correct. Very good. Very good job. Let's take a quick break around the water cooler to discuss the games that we have been playing this week. I'll go first. I don't usually go first in this, but I'll go first. I'll give you guys some time to marinate on your thoughts. Mine's quick. I played one game this week. I played Democracy 4. So my wife and I have been binging House of Cards. And when I say binging, I mean watching an episode whenever
weird
we can.
Year to be doing that, by the way. You're really late.
So here's the thing. This is our 3rd or 4th attempt at watching the show. We had always gotten to one time I got to episode 2, then I got to episode 4, and then episode 7. This time we're in season 4. So we made it past that hump, and we're chugging along on the show. And so because of that, I was looking for just a good political sim to play. And it's okay. It's not here's the thing. It's both in-depth and it's too in-depth and not in-depth enough at the same time. There are certain things that it's very in-depth on and other things that it's not at all in-depth on. There's no customizing your character or giving your character a name or anything like that. I wish it focused a little bit more on the campaigning aspects and decision-making aspects. What the game is it's basically a lot of sliders where you decide how much support you put towards something or how much funding you put towards something. I may need to just dive a little bit more into it. I think there's something there. I just don't know if it's quite clicking for me yet. Also, for some reason, my cabinet members start to hate me super quickly. And they want to just
it's not the game, man.
Yeah, I guess. But it's funny because I'm picking ones that obviously should be agreeing with the policies and stuff that I'm putting forward in the game, and they will very quickly fall off. I don't really know what's going on with that. That I don't know if that's
early access.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an issue with the game or if I'm doing something wrong. It's probably me, but I don't know. Anyways, I also downloaded Lord of the Rings Online last night. Paul and I kind
So
of
did
we
I.
hyped ourselves up talking about it at the end of yesterday's GG replay. So I'm excited to play some of that this weekend. What I'm most excited for is the fact that it's like one of the biggest video game worlds. I just want to go explore it. And so I'm pretty hyped about that. But that's really it for me this week. I just have not had a lot of time to play games over the last couple weeks, starting the new job and stuff. So hopefully we'll get back into it again soon. But Paul, what did you play this week? I know you were talking before the show that you played quite a few things.
Yeah, so I played a few things this week. Right off the bat, I got back into Hades, which was fun. I finally, light spoiler warning, not really though, but just to say that I finally beat Hades for the first time, but that's not the end of the game. But that was like something I was really excited for, and it feels like it's finally opened back up in a way. Like I felt like I was
Okay.
stuck there for a while. I got to about like 30 hours and not doing it. And then I got there and I did it, and I'm happy. It took me longer than some people and quicker than some people and whatever, but I got there. But yeah, it was starting to. The game throws in a lot of stuff while you're playing that kind of makes you feel like you're not just grinding the same thing over and over. Like they throw in little things to change it up to make you not feel like you're stuck. But at a certain point, it was getting to a point where I felt like the game was kind of giving up. They were kind of like, "Can you just get to the next part a little bit here?" So I'm glad I did. There's a whole bunch more systems now and things I can do, which is awesome. So I'm excited for that, and I'm going to be playing more. I did also, Matt, I did also download the Lord of the Rings Online. I played a bit today. I I don't know. I think I'm just a snob, but I have it like with all the high graphics stuff on, and like it's like running DirectX 11 and whatever. Fuck. They're like, wow, we saw you have DirectX 11. You must have a really beefy machine.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure. There's like a thing when you're creating a character that you can like click on and off the old graphics and the new graphics for like the character model. And good Lord, I was like, this looks shitty. And then I clicked it off and I realized that like the old one was like 2005, and this at least looks kind of more modern. They basically just rounded everything. I don't know. It looks okay. It looks kind of like how I imagined RuneScape looked when I was a kid. But obviously it looks like, it looks like trash. This looks better. Like it looks fine. The water is downright like very reflective, which is cool. It doesn't actually really react to you moving through it at all, but it's there. It's reflective.
Yeah.
With the high graphics. You run through the reeds. They don't move, but they're there. Anyway, the point is, I don't know. I tried to get into it. I might play a bit more. I made a couple characters and goofed around. The dialogue's neat and stuff, but it does feel a little bit. I don't know. I'd like some more voice stuff in this, just because the story at the beginning seems kind of interesting, and they kind of make you want to they show you like Frodo and Sam and fucking Strider and all these characters right off the bat, depending on which race you start off with. And you're like doing quests for them, and then they're not really like voiced very much, which kind of sucks. Like I feel like at least the main story could. I know it was like an older game, but would have been cool if they went back and did that a little bit. There's a lot of reading, I guess, for like Lord of the Rings fans. Obviously, you might want to do that, but I just don't really feel like doing a lot of reading in like a game that was like launched in 2006. Like I kind of just want to roll through a bit. But yeah, overall, it's all right. I will say magic's kind of annoying too, just because I really wanted magic, but I thought, well, how on earth would they do magic in Lord of the Rings without like being a total lore break, like just a lore garbage fire? And they do it kind of in some ways, but there's like, I don't know. The main thing is the stuff I wanted to do was behind paywalls, and I just don't know if I want to drop money for it. Like there's some new classes that are cool. There's a race where you're Bjornings, that fucking dude from The Hobbit who can like turn into a bear.
Whoa.
There's a race for him, his people, and the only class is turn into a bear. He can only be one class, and the class is you turn into a bear and fight people. And I obviously want that so bad as a druid fan from World of Warcraft and lots of other games, and a shapeshifting fan. But like, fuck's sakes, it's like, I don't know, it's like $20 for me to do that. I just don't know if that's really like something I want to do in a game that's so old that I haven't even like tried out yet. But the problem is I don't also want to keep trying it out and seeing if it grows on me when I'm playing a class I don't like.
Right.
Anyways, this is way too long. But the point is, Lord of the Rings Online is, the jury's out for me. I'm not sure how I feel on it.
Well, all right. It's a taste of an old school MMO again. It's Always nice to dip back in a little bit.
It makes me want to play other MMOs, actually. Like I said to you earlier, maybe want to play ESO, Elder Scrolls Online, or you know what? You're gonna love this. It even kind of made me want to play Rift. So it's like if I'm gonna play an old, janky, ugly-looking MMO, at least Rift had magic and shit, which was cool.
Well, I don't know about the first part of your statement, but I do know that Rift does have magic. I can say
Yeah,
that.
it just is a little. I like the power fantasy.
There are parts of Rift that look really, really good, like really cool big landscapes, especially in the in what was the expansions at one time, which I guess it still is technically, but it's all wrapped into one. Some really good looking areas, I will say.
I believe you. I never got to those points, but to me, it's like the thing that I don't like about Lotro 2 and a lot of their games is just the models. When you tried to go character models realistic and then the game's age now, that is just so glaringly bad to me. And when I'm supposed to be like kind of in an RPG where I like the way my character looks, I'm trying to be cool and like cast spells, and I look like low res or low poly and just kind of like I'm supposed to look realistic, but what realistic was in 2011. That just it really is hard for me in a game. But I believe you that like the actual landscape stuff was really cool. The stuff I saw in the starting areas was pretty nice.
But what I said about Rift, I also think is probably true for Lotro. I bet the newer content actually looks okay. I feel like they probably found a way, even with older technology, to make it at least look pretty good in some of the newer places.
Honestly, the old landscapes look great. The old landscapes look really nice. Really, it looks like Middle Earth. It looks really good. And you're totally right about size of game too. When I look at my map at one point and I had like the right click to zoom out, and then it's like, oh, the region you're in. And then I right click to zoom out again, and then it's like another region you're in. And then I right click to zoom out again, and it's the world map. And I was like, I can't. You don't even have a dot on there anymore because it's too big to even like give you a representation of where you are. I'm like, this. I mean, that's not actually true. They could have fucking showed it, but it's weird they didn't have a dot. But the point is, it is huge. Like it's almost a little too daunting.
It's one of those MMOs where they just kept piling on and they never like rolled stuff back. Like I think the level cap in Lotro is like 140 or something. Like they're just going with it. Anyway, that's enough talk about Lotro in 2021. Mike, what did you play this week?
Well, I played 2 whole games.
Oh, 2 whole games or 2 whole games?
Yeah.
Were you playing Donut County?
Yeah, Donut County.
No. So I played a game, an indie game that came out this week. It's called Unpacking.
Oh,
I also played that actually.
I love it. It's great. Yep. I think it's a very unique take on telling a story about a character. I'm about halfway through. It's a lot longer than I thought it would be. But like finding out things about your character, spoilers if you don't want spoilers for Unpacking. I thought it was really funny how the further you go along, the better she gets at packing.
Yes.
Because at the start, you're like unpacking things in your bedroom and there's like stuff for the kitchen in there. And it's like, why is this in here? But then she gets better. There's a point where you move in with clearly a boyfriend. And right off the get, I was like, this relationship will not work because it's very obvious that you are 2 completely different people. At first, I thought it was going to be really difficult, that level, because he didn't like clear out any shelves for you or anything like that. But you're allowed to actually move his shit, which was the first time you could do that on a level. But like he's very clean, very much like he's your sugar daddy because you are clearly a barista, and he clearly has money. But like the entire time, because I was streaming it, the entire time I was talking to my chat, I'm just like, they're gonna break up. This is not lasting. I can see it on the wall already. Like you're very much girl next door, and he's very much not.
He's not the girl next door?
No. He's not the guy next door either. And lo and behold, the next place that you move into is your parents' house because you broke up. Like I said, spoilers. But then like even certain things like when you start, you're very much focused on art and you went to college for art, and then you get a job as barista and you don't do art anymore. And also before you really like soccer because you have like you have a soccer trophy on your in your kid's room, and then you go to college for art, and then you come back and you go through your old stuff, play some old tunes. It's very much like oof, hitting my heartstrings. And then
Oof,
like
I'm turning 30.
you find out like she's developing back problems and she's taking medication for it. And it's like it gets like really, really deep, really quick. Like I was not expecting it. I was like, I'm living this person's life through this game, and I didn't really realize that's what was going to happen. Like, and that's what they said on the website, but I was very skeptical about it. It's a really good game. Spoilers are over. If you want to pick it up, go pick it up. It's a good game. It's a very good game.
Before you know it, you're unpacking in the retirement home.
I mean,
spoilers are going to be over, Matt. We said spoilers over. We don't know.
My chat keeps saying they're saying, "Oh, last level is going to be packing your body in the casket."
Oh,
Jesus! You actually are playing as you're playing as pallbearers.
Oh, you know what? Can I just jump in really quick? Because I will say there's one thing I forgot that I played. Oh, actually, you know what, Mike? You're still going, right? I won't get in here. Keep going.
I've got one more, so
I'll come back later.
And it's something that we've talked about, so I won't harp on it. But I'm pulling a Matt, and no, I'm pulling a Matt, and I have gone back, and I am playing New Game Plus on Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I am 3 trophies from platinuming it or something like that. I just have to finish the game at this point. I've done all the like actual challenge stuff. I just hit the 100 hit combo, which was a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah, that's tough.
It was annoying, mainly because like I'd be dodging and still get hit, and I would be like, what's the fucking point? Why do I dodge? So yeah, no, it was annoying, but I just have to beat the story and then I'm there. I think I missed like one achievement on the starting mission, but I can just load a save and do it. So yeah, having fun. I really like Miles. I'm liking Miles a lot more the second time through. The Finn relationship seems more believable the second time through. I don't know why that is, but it just feels more real, I guess. Nothing's really changed. I guess I have just more context because I'm paying attention. So yeah, that's why I've been playing this week.
Now, you said you got to beat the game to get your platinum. Do you have to beat the game on New Game Plus to get the platinum trophy? So you have to beat the game twice.
Yeah.
Interesting. You have to beat the game on New Game Plus to get the trophy. You didn't in Spider-Man like the original one.
No, you didn't.
One of the trophies is plus. Beat the game on New Game Plus.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a short game. I guess that makes sense. Maybe.
And that's part of the platinum. That's not like one of those DLC trophies.
It's part of the platinum.
Wow.
Platinum is collect all trophies, so it's one of them.
Well,
I looked up a guide. It said beat the game twice.
Sometimes New Game Pluses have separate trophy lists that aren't part of platinums. So that's interesting. All right.
Yeah, the guide said you have to beat the game twice. It'll take like 20 hours because the game's short. So
that's not bad. And New Game Plus, you can probably breeze through with all the powers and stuff. All right, let's move on to audience questions. Every week we address...
Hey, really quick, I just want to jump in and say I did play Forza Horizon 5 for approximately 2 or 3 hours. Not a super long amount of time. Listen, it's a great game. It's Forza Horizon again. It's awesome. I'm sure I'll have time where I feel like driving a car and sitting in it. I didn't really when it came out, so it's just like it's not the moment for me right now. I have to be in a mood, I feel like, to really get into those games. But that being said, it's more of what's great. It's awesome. I will play it. But yeah, it's good.
Maybe next week you'll have a little bit more on that one.
Yeah, I think once I get some time to settle in and play some more.
Good. All right, every week we address 2 or 3 audience questions, comments, or concerns. We take questions from our supporters over on Patreon at patreon.com/Goodnight Groofs. You can leave your question in the comments section of the previous episode's post, and the $1 tier will get you access to question submissions. But we also take submissions at gamegroofs@gmail.com and in the YouTube comments below, but our patrons will always receive priority. This first question comes from Software. See what I did there? What modern game is set up for a good quote-unquote demake, a la the fan-made PS1 demake for Bloodborne? I'll go first. I think linear RPGs, action adventure games, and platformers are three genres that make good choices for this question. I feel like you could turn linear RPGs, even if they're action RPGs, into like old school turn-based type stuff if you wanted to do that. But I chose Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I could totally see a dumbed down version of that game as a PS1 or like N64 game back in the day. It just seems, and back when they were really pumping out Star Wars games too, it just feels like one of those games that could have existed in that era. You know, maybe a little dumbed down version of the story. Obviously, it's going to look totally different. The maps aren't as big and open. It's more linear and not as Metroidvania-y. And but I could see it living in that era. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, so I mean, I thought about this for a little bit, and I had a little bit of trouble, and then it came to me. And I would say some of these modern, I cheat a little bit here, and some of these modern Bethesda RPG, open world RPG games. I see, my first thought was Skyrim, just because I think that's kind of funny, maybe doing that in a Morrowind style or something. You see all these games trying to make like Morrowind in the Skyrim engine and Daggerfall. You know, I think it's imagining Skyrim as Daggerfall or Skyrim as Morrowind is kind of a funny way to go backwards. I think actually maybe more doable. I'd say, yeah, it's hard to say, but and kind of interesting. But what I thought was actually a really interesting idea is taking something like Fallout New Vegas and doing that in the original Fallout 1 overhead isometric style. Get those kind of like, those pixely graphics, get like the little heads popping up, and, take some of those things and change that and make it a little more, pared down. I think it's cool to imagine these games like that because they have great stories, and it might be kind of like a fun little twist to be like, hey, because I saw a lot of people say like they didn't like the new versions of Fallout. They miss the way it used to play, and they didn't like Fallout 3, and they didn't like what Bethesda did with it. And then I see the same, and I see this less, but I definitely see people saying like, hey, I liked the way Morrowind. I don't think in that scenario it's the same way. I think a lot of people are kind of like, hey, we wanted it to look better, and they did. Good job. This story isn't what we wanted, right? So, but I think the Fallout one, there's a lot of people who would be interested in playing that game, like you see, like with games like Wasteland and stuff like that, where they kind of like are an upscaled version, just fully downscale it, fully make an original looking Fallout, but with newer stories.
Well, the fact that CRPGs have sort of made a comeback, and especially in like a more indie space, I could totally see something like that working. Mike, what about you?
Well, I'm not really thrilled that Paul's giving Todd Howard another way to re-release Skyrim, but
at least this would take some like thought, some ingenuity,
maybe. My response is kind of cheeky, but I mean I think it would work. I don't see why not. Metroid Dread. I mean, it practically is.
I was going to say it doesn't look that great anyway.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have much else for that.
Easy enough. Yeah.
All right. Next question. This one comes from Ethel. What game would you most likely recommend to a non-gamer that would like to try out gaming?
Can I ask you to do this a little bit differently? You said it's from Ethel. I really feel like when you said Ethel and you're talking from the perspective of a non-gamer, that this was meant to be kind of like a grandmother character. Am I crazy on that?
You're absolutely correct. Ethel wrote in.
So can you read it in Ethel's voice for me, please?
Sure. This comes in from Ethel. What game would you most likely recommend to a non-gamer who would like to try out gaming?
Really good. That's a very Simpsons-esque voice. I think that would do really well somewhere in like early Simpsons.
I don't know. I couldn't even visualize a character in my head. I don't know what I was going for. Eventually, something came out of my mouth hole. So
totally different how I would have done it. That's what I love about it. It was so different than what I was imagining, and that thrilled me.
We'll go to you first, Paul.
Thank you very much. Yes. Well, I thought about this a few times. We talked about this before a little bit, and I said stuff like, Sims and Animal Crossing and stuff. But I don't think that if you're looking to try out gaming, I don't know. Yes, I would say people who play those games are gamers and are into whatever that word means, are people who play games. But I will say that it's not like it wouldn't get you into the sphere of games. And so I think in that scenario, there's only one answer that always should be the answer. And that, my friends, is Mario. I think that you should play the latest Mario game. Play Mario Odyssey. I think it's colorful, it's fun, it's got all these like classic game mechanics. You have platforming, there's some combat, but it's not intense. Nothing. There's a super low level of entry to it, but a high skill cap if you want to get in and play some more, pun intended, with cap. Anyway, I don't know. I just think I don't know. I start with Mario. I think a lot of people start with Mario. It's simple, but it's like deceptively simple, I think sometimes, and it really does. It looks like just this cartoon stupid character, but it really does lead into something really big and kind of uncovers. And you have a huge backlog too of like really accessible. Well, if you can manage to play them somehow, if Nintendo ever lets you, you have a huge backlog of Mario games to play.
Yeah, that's true. For some reason, when I was thinking of an idea for this, I felt like Mario can just be like too difficult at times for a brand new gamer. I don't know what it is, but I feel like. But you're right. The skill varies so much. Like the skill necessary to play a Mario game varies so much in the levels.
Game without being good, you know what I mean? But like to get the moons and everything in Odyssey, right? I think that would require more. But I think you can like learn your way through, and there's less like worry about camera control and some of the stuff that I think. But it leans you into that. You learn that a bit more than you might in like throwing you into something where you're really like dual sticking it. You know what I mean?
Speaking of camera control, my answer, I wanted to say Minecraft, but I just think that the first person camera controls are just way too hard for someone brand new to gaming. I remember the first time, I think obviously like GoldenEye was probably the first time I dealt with that, but Halo was the first time I played where you were also controlling the other axis.
Yep.
GoldenEye, you're just looking I fucking don't know anything about that. X-axis. X-axis. Yeah. And with Halo, you have a Y-axis as well, and you have different other inter-angle. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Anyway, you got two sticks and you're controlling your camera.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I remember when I first played Halo, that was extremely difficult for me to get used to. I played enough to get used to it pretty quickly, but it was really hard. So my answer, because of that's a roundabout way of saying my answer, which is probably something like Limbo or Inside or Unravel. I think that those are visually interesting. They're modern. They're 2D platformers, which, that you're not dealing with 3D space. And they also tell a story. So I just think that there's a lot going on there. Probably of the three, if you're trying to get someone into gaming and you don't want to get the story to get a little bit dark, maybe you just go with Unravel. But if they are a different kind of person, maybe they look at Limbo or Inside. I just think that those could be good options to show that, games can tell a story. They can be visually interesting. They can have complex puzzle stuff, but also, it's not too difficult. What about you, Mike?
Honestly, like if it's coming from Ethel, which is what I kind of base this on, yeah. And to be fair, like I'm kind of basing it off of like, if my mom wanted to play a game, what would she play? I hand her a controller and she freaks out because there's an analog stick. She's like, I don't know how to use this thing. I'm just like, just move it around, you'll figure it out. So my answer, I think it just got a huge update. It is all the craze right now. Go play Animal Crossing.
Oh, okay.
It'll be a nice little intro to gaming. It's very simple. You don't have to play it long. You just have to play it every day or so. Very simple mechanics. It holds your hand through the entire process. You meet new friends. You have some fun. And it could open up possibilities into like a Stardew Valley or any other simulation game. Or if you really want to kill your villagers and you're mad that you can't, it can lead to other games. But I think it's a good introduction into gaming at the very least.
Very nice. I like that. 100%. I like that choice. All right, let's move on. Tickle my listicle. It's been a little while.
Matt, I won't do it. Stop asking me.
In Tickle My Listicle, the panel puts together a list to fit around a certain topic, and we discuss our picks right here on the show. We'll take turns sharing our picks for each round until we get to our number one picks in each category. This week's listicle is our top 3 games that we thought we would like, but didn't at all. Maybe we overhyped it, or maybe the game was just different from what we expected. Paul, give us your number 3 pick, and then we'll go to me, and then we'll go to Mike, and we'll continue that rotation.
3, just something I was... Well, you know what? I'll start off here with something nice and easy, and it's kind of, as The Witcher 3, but it's more than just The Witcher 3. I think I can just overall come out and say open worlds, RPGs.
Oh.
I'll say Witcher 3 because that really is the one that I've had the hardest time getting into. Really, had little... And I respect... I think objectively it's really good, but just for me, it did not have the elements that I needed to keep me around a little bit. But yeah, I always want to love an open world RPG. It's been the dream since I was a kid to love a big open world RPG. It was the future of games. It was I think maybe, I don't know, ADHD, whatever. I can't sit there and play an open world RPG for too long. I guess get bored super fast. There's too many options and not enough hand holding, I guess, or I don't know, or it just feels like I'm being led. If I am handheld, I feel like I'm being led from objective to objective to objective, and they're all super easy to check off a list. And I don't know. I'm sure I could sit here and write a fucking essay about it. I probably will for Goodnight Groofs at some point. But I just cannot. I can't get into open world RPGs. I can't even think of one that I've really put hours into.
I know of one that you love. World of Warcraft. That's an open world RPG.
Yes. Yeah, so that's the one, and I knew you were going to say it too. I've put a lot of time into World of Warcraft, and I will say I think part of that's because it came when I was young, before I could get bored of this stuff, and then now to me it's a nostalgia thing where I'm so comfortable in that world it feels like a second home to me. But it's hard for me to build that relationship now that I'm older.
The social aspect helps as well.
And I was going to say, and I think the social aspect helps a lot. The world feels alive and full of people, and I know where to find them and how to talk to them. Like I'll play other MMOs, and the world is definitely alive, but I don't know how to interact with it. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's like they're all speaking a different language, even though it's English.
Yep.
It's like there's some kind of barrier, and I don't know where to find them and how to talk to them and what they want to talk about. Whereas in WoW I do, and so yeah, I think that's a big thing there. But yeah, that's it. That's like the one that I can really go to. I still have hype for open world RPG games. I saw the Elden Ring stuff this week. I've never even played a Dark Souls, and I'm like, this looks cool. I doubt I'll be able to stick it with it and play it.
So my number 3 pick is Shadow of the Colossus. This was actually one of my answers for an audience question last week. I think the audience question was like, what in your mind is an overhyped game or something like that, or a game that, I think that was the question, right?
Yeah.
I even pre-ordered this game. I was all in on Shadow of the Colossus. I'm talking about the remake. I was all in on it. I was expecting to absolutely love this game. It seemed right up my alley. It's open world-esque. It's a totally different kind of game though, and I think that's where things fell flat for me. It's just very different. Shadow of the Colossus really stands alone. There aren't other games like it. It's very much almost like its own genre. I would call it, if you can call something this, I would call it like linear open world, in the sense that there's not a lot going on. Your objectives are very clear. You have choice in the objectives, but they're extremely clear, and they're very specific, right? And they aren't very in depth. And the story isn't super in depth. I mean, there is a story there, but it's not super in depth. Shadow of the Colossus is just its own kind of game, and I think I knew that going in. I just thought I would like it, and I didn't. I won't go into it forever here, but I still wish that I liked it. I think it looks great visually. I think it looks kind of cool. But yeah, it's a different game. It really is. And I can understand because of that why so many people love it too, on the flip side. Mike, you're number 3.
I was going to ask, would you consider like something like Monster Hunter in the same realm as Shadow of the Colossus? Just out of curiosity.
No, I don't think so. I think Monster Hunter plays more like a checklisty open world, whereas Shadow of the Colossus is like, it's weird because I want to say Shadow of the Colossus is more open-ended and more freeing, but at the same time, it's more constricted. It's very hard to... Shadow of the Colossus is a very hard game to put into words.
Yeah, that's fair. So I struggled with this question, mainly because I had too many that could have made the list. So number 3, I guess the way that I wanted to weight this was things that I was most excited about and most let down by. So I'm gonna give some honorable mentions to any type of Diablo clone. I love Diablo. I grew up on it, but every like Torchlight was my thought process on it. Every time I play it, I'm just like I play it for an hour and then never touch it again. But my number 3, Witcher 3 is somewhere, but whatever, it's fine. I wasn't like super hype over Witcher 3, so I wasn't that disappointed when I didn't like it. Number 3, Fallout 4. That game's trash, and I hate that they did that to the Fallout series.
It's okay. You can say it, Mike. My baby. They did it to your baby.
No. I wouldn't say that Fallout is like it doesn't hold that near and dear a place to in my heart, but like why did they voice the protagonist? Why is the story so boring? Why are the factions so trash? Why is this game just Call of Duty and Fallout? Like I don't like it. Thank God Josh isn't here.
Oh yeah.
Paul.
We'd be fighting.
Paul, you're number 2.
Yeah, I feel like I blew my big answer. By the way, I should have probably done it in a different order so that was 1, because the rest are going to be lackluster in comparison. But I'm just going to go ahead and say, as a huge Dragon Ball game fan as a kid, and just Dragon Ball fan as a youth, and I still follow Dragon Ball for sure. I went with a game for a very long time. I played the Budokai games growing up a lot. I never really played like the Budokai Tenkaichi games. I didn't really play like a lot of the games that were in the middle there as I was kind of in like high school. But I remember being really, really excited for Dragon Ball Xenoverse. Very excited. It was kind of this like cool idea of getting to do like kind of like a lobby. You could go to different what if scenarios. There was kind of more this like flying open fighting. It looked pretty cool, but it was kind of based a lot on Tenkaichi games. Anyway, the point is there hadn't been a Dragon Ball game in quite a long time, and I got real hype for this game, as I do for most Dragon Ball games. And then I bought it. I played it for like a week, and then I basically like forced them to refund it to me on Xbox. I was just like, I cried until they refunded my daddy's CC and gave me the money back. No, I'm just kidding. But I did get them to refund me the game. And then you know what I did instead? I was like, I'm gonna buy something I'll actually play, and I bought Witcher 3. Which is one of the few games I actually own on Xbox, because I pretty much just play Game Pass or like used to like steal my friends' games and play them. But yeah, that's there sitting there on my Xbox library. But yeah, I really was excited for it. There's nothing horribly wrong with it. It's just frustrating. The camera controls in like a 3D flying fighting game that wasn't super well optimized just were shit at some point. There was like a lot of auto targeting that was hard to lock on, and the camera would fly all over the place. I just was not my favorite. So there you go.
All right. Well, my number 2 is Infamous Second Son. Now, I may need to revisit this game, but I remember it feeling cheap, especially the open world aspects of the game. It just did not feel like a first-party Sony game to me. It was very off-putting for some reason. It just didn't feel like their best effort. I don't know, maybe I need to revisit it. I think I played it coming off of... I didn't play it when it came out. I played it... I was coming off of maybe The Last of Us or Uncharted or something, which is obviously peak of... It's one of the peaks of PlayStation. And then going into Infamous after that, which is... People like it, but it's not like up there with Last of Us and Uncharted. So maybe that was my issue. Maybe it was just coming off of 2 highly acclaimed games that I need to, maybe I need to give it another shot. But I feel like, Spider-Man's out there, and there are other good superhero type games where I don't know. I would totally play a modern Infamous. Second Son just didn't do it for me. Mike, what about you?
My number 2 is actually pretty recent. I got into playing a lot of Souls games. I played Dark Souls 3. And I was like, oh, I should play other Souls games. I played a little bit of Sekiro. Didn't beat it. I thought Sekiro was weird compared to other games that they've made. But this one, I thought I was going to like a lot. And I think if you've watched me play it on stream, I don't usually get frustrated by a game. And I'm not even I think the issue is that I'm not getting frustrated by the difficulty of the game. I'm getting frustrated by the mechanic of the game. Bloodborne. I wanted to like this game, but the fact that they took Estus Flask and decided, no, you're gonna have to pick up consumables in order to heal blood vials, and they don't replenish themselves. You have to go out and farm them. So every time that you die, and
Right.
let's say you get close to killing the boss, but then you die, you have to then go out and refarm blood vials or use your souls to buy them, and then go back and fight the boss. And it just felt like an added punishment for losing to a boss. And I got so annoyed, so tilted by it that I stopped playing it on stream. And I don't know that I'm going to go back to it. I don't know that I care. It really just makes the game not fun.
Yeah, I think in a type of game where boss fights are difficult, the fact that you're probably going to have to do the fight multiple times is already the punishment. I don't think you necessarily need more tacked on.
No.
Paul, you're number 1, sir.
Yeah, something that I have wanted to love forever, and I'll give this again. It's kind of a bit of an overarching thing here, but BioWare games, Mass Effect and Dragon Age in particular, I'm looking at here. It's nothing to do with the story. I think the stories are awesome. I've been trying to start and play Dragon Age Origins a million times because I think it's so cool. I really like the unique way you start your story. I think Mass Effect is an awesome game, but I just, and this is, I know I can cheese my way through it and I got to figure it out, but I just don't like the pause combat group thing, and it really turns me off these games where you have a bunch of different people in your party and it's not turn based, but you have to like stop and then choose what they're doing,
Right.
and then do all that stuff. I know that I don't know if Mass Effect is big on that, but I know Dragon Age is like big on that. And that shit drives me crazy. And also just when you get like a bunch of points and you have to like allot them to different people. And I know there's like ways to auto do it, but then I'm like nervous that it's not working the right way or I didn't auto it right. The point is I just want to like run through and be Shepard or be whoever I want to be in these games and just like do my thing. And all those systems I know are like good. People love them. That's what the game is. But I just kind of want to enjoy the stories of those games. And I know I could probably like put it on an easy mode and do that. And going forward, I probably will. But all those extra systems just kind of make me feel like I should be paying attention to them, and it stresses me out. I like playing a turn-based RPG actually. If that like in these scenarios where if it were open world like that, and then you entered a turn-based thing, I guess I should probably try playing Final Fantasy maybe. but I just don't like the story as much. But well, I know I haven't played it, but I'm not. I have trouble getting into Japanese storylines, but. I will say, yeah, I just wish it would be turn-based, and I really hate pausing to stop. I don't know when to pause. I don't know when to choose what the guys are doing. I don't know. It's just can't break it.
Yeah, BioWare combat is why I just have not tried KOTOR, because I don't think I'm gonna like it because of that.
Well, yeah, I mean KOTOR is super dated too on top of that,
Right.
which makes it even tougher. But I mean, it makes it so you can cheese it better too in different ways. So it's weird.
My number 1 is Cities Skylines. It finally made me realize that I no longer like city builders. I used to love them. I used to really love them. That and like the Tycoon games, SimCity, all that kind of stuff. When they were simpler, back in the old days when those games were simpler. But I just can't get into the minutia anymore. Like I can't get into setting up my power lines or like my sewer systems, and I just like can't get into that. I wish I could. I just can't. I would love to create the coolest mega city of all time, but I just can't get into it, unfortunately.
I have a recommendation for you. If you
Oh?
ever get Game Pass going again on PC, play the newest, or just if you buy it, play the newest SimCity from like 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
It's not a good game. Like City Skylines is objectively way better in every respect. Like people were like, "How dare you do this to SimCity?" But I played it recently and actually had a really good time because you plop down a power plant or you plop down a water treatment thing, and you don't have to like figure out where the pipes
right?
go. It's just area based,
Right.
And I found that fixed a lot of the issues I had with City Skylines. And again, the issues weren't with the game. The issues were with me not being able to play a game like that because I'm too lazy, and just like that. It's not fun for me. But yeah, I found that a kind of a more accessible city builder that obviously again isn't as good, I think, objectively, but it was something I could actually play. So that's made me want to check that out at some point.
The only time I've really been okay with that sort of thing recently is in Jurassic World Evolution, where you have to set your power lines and stuff like that. But that's because like the electrical system and power lines are like actually a thing in Jurassic Park, and like the importance behind them and that kind of stuff. Like there's actually story reasons.
I mean, there's story reasons in the world why we have electricity.
Yes,
Matt,
yes,
but...
I know this. Yes.
But Matt, all you have to say is dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. And there's that cool bit where the kid touches the electric thing and gets like blasted back, and the dinosaurs break the. It's just cool.
It's part of it. Mike.
My number one, it's funny because it's also BioWare related, but I think it's for different reasons than Paul. Dragon Age Inquisition is my number one. I was very much let down by Dragon Age 2. I, for one, loved Dragon Age Origins for the combat, for how it felt, etc., etc. I like the top down. I like the tacticalness of it while also being an RPG. Dragon Age Inquisition was really hyped. I thought maybe they would learn a little bit. I think my mom even pre-ordered it for me for my birthday, and then I got it and I played it, and I got I want to say I got like 10 hours into it. I got far enough that I was getting other companions. Holy fuck, that combat's really bad. I'm sorry, it's really bad. All I remember is just spamming a button over and over again, and then hitting my other buttons off of cooldown, and then just going back to spamming. I played a mage, and it was just like nonstop, just like hailfire of like magic missile, and I'm like, this is boring.
I also played a mage in Inquisition and played probably about 8 hours of it, and I also it looked better and it was cool, but like good lord, you just like it's like the reverse. I was like, oh, it's too tactical, and then this one you just press like one button and it's so boring. So there's I don't know what I'm looking for, but it's not that.
When you first said BioWare, I thought this was going the Anthem route.
Oh,
I had zero hype for Anthem, and I did not buy it.
Maybe the Andromeda route too is what I thought.
I didn't buy Andromeda either.
But Inquisition, that was before Inquisition. That was before you'd already been let down, and we're like, ooh, okay.
Yep.
Well, we're going to end this week's show with a short roast. I'm going to give the panel a topic. They're going to give it a short roast. They may love the topic that I picked, but now's the time to end it with a knockout punch. Welcome to the roast of MOBAs. That's a multiplayer online battle arena. Paul, your roast, please.
Yeah, sure. MOBAs, your number one source of online harassment and racial slurs since the downfall of Xbox Live lobbies.
Very nice. I'll go next because it's along the same lines. To me, communities are so important in gaming. The MOBA community is one with a certain reputation, but it's also one that gives me nostalgia for my elementary school days. You know, the days back when I got shoved into metal jungle gyms and had sand kicked in my face and had snowballs forced against my forehead to give me brain freezes. You know, those days. Did that ever happen to you guys? Did you ever get brain freezes?
It sounds like you were bullied a lot, dude. I don't know.
I mean, I was bullied too, but not like
bullied too. I didn't get brain freezes, so that's a new one.
You know, I was friends with older kids, and so they would,
That's with you.
Yeah. Mike, your roast.
Mine's on the same exact wavelength.
Because the games are fun, but like the community is trash.
I want to say congratulations to all the MOBAs out there for topping Chernobyl by creating the most toxic environment in human history.
That was good. I like that.
That is a good one. I love that. Really, really good.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us here on the Game Groofs podcast, the all-encompassing gaming podcast from us, the Goodnight Groofs. If you really like the show, we encourage you to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/goodnightgroofs, where we currently have 3 different tiers available. Any and all support is greatly appreciated and will go a long way in improving everything here at the Goodnight Groofs. But the $3 plus tier will get you access to this show 2 days early. That means Friday instead of Sunday. A special shout out to all of our patrons currently supporting us in the $5 plus tier, Ishmael S. and Rachel S. A round of applause for them, please. We also ask that you take a couple minutes to drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or leave a like and comment on the YouTube video. Everything helps. Make sure to check out goodnightgroofs.com for all of our content, where you'll find the blog, GG Replay, this podcast, game reviews, and when I say more coming soon, ladies and gentlemen, I mean by the time you're listening to this, you may have already seen that there's a new thing out there on the YouTube channel. Go check it out.
Maybe.
Guys, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to say that if you love World of Warcraft and you're interested in a new MMO, Lord of the Rings Online, the world is 375 times bigger than World of Warcraft.
Jesus.
So 375 times more to love.
Well, there you go. That'll do it for us here today.
375 times more empty.
Yeah.
375 times more hobbits.
Isn't that it's sorry, I hate to hijack the show, but 80 square miles in WoW, 30,000 square miles in Lord of the Rings Online. Why?
A lot of empty open space, probably. That's all right. Well, it's a long journey from the Shire to Mordor. Okay, you could.
That's in like 2 zones.
You could. Why didn't they just take a griffin? I don't know. All right, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Take care, everyone.
Good night, Groofs.
Good night.